Eric Aboussouan, he's the head of market research with Cargill. He joins me now. Thank you so much for taking the time. When we look at the dilemma the industry is in now, I mean, is this a new norm or is it just a cycle? What do you think?
I think it's both. It's a fact that the changes we've seen over the last 18 months, they will continue to. Change will be the norm. And I think when we talk about cycles, it's a new definition of cycles, and volatility, it's a new definition of volatility. So ultimately, I think we need to get used to the fact that it's a very unpredictable world we have ahead of us.
So again, in that unpredictable world, this is really a time where, you know, people like yourself from the trading community, analysts and everybody, you really need to get a clearer understanding of what you're all doing. Has this roundtable and I mean the discussions here in the last few days and looking at the outlooks, is this the type of sessions and, you know, just get-togethers that can actually help you get a bit more insight?
Oh, absolutely. I think the fact that we have this open dialogue over 2 days and just brings a lot of different views around the table and in a very open way. It's very important that that continues because at the end of the day, as I said, the complexity of the world requires us to work together, not against each other these days.
For the last year or two, for the trading community, I mean, this must have been a very exciting time in one way. It's interesting, exciting. I mean, how are the trading community, how have they been faring? We don't get to talk to too many of them that often.
It varies. I would say we do like, indeed, volatility. At the same time, when there is too much of unpredictable volatility, it hurts. So I think you need to find the right balance. At the end of the day, I think it's also important to realize that it has to be a market where you have more winners than losers in general, because you want to see that people are really engaged, people really want to invest in this industry, people really want to continue to do the best what's for the industry and also for the customers. So at the end of the day, traders also need to make sure that it's not only what would benefit themselves, but also what would benefit the rest of the industry.
Because ultimately, I mean, this is a long-term industry, the energy demand growth and the figures that we see in the outlooks, or just even by common sense, we know energy is always going to be a big demand, and also looking at the developing countries as well. So, I mean, is that long-term, do you feel that it's also people have the long-term interest at heart?
It's not an option. I think it is not an option. I think there is a bit of a tendency today to focus maybe too much on the short term. We want to know where price is going to be in 6 to 12 months. Fairly said. At the same time, I think looking at some of those big changes, those long-term changes that we see today, like as you said, emerging countries, renewables, those are the things which will not be solved in the next 6 to 12 months. Those are things where we need all together to work on those, to discuss and have a view and then plan scenarios in terms of where we think the world could be in the next 3, 4, 5, 10 years, because at the end of the day, the energy industry is something which requires a long-term view, long-term investment, long-term commitments.